dive into a very interesting and real world problem called churn prediction, customer churn prediction. Let's say you are running a telecom company like Airtel, okay, Airtel or something like that, okay. You provide internet and phone services, but the catch is some customers suddenly stop using your services and they leave your business. So this is what called as churn. Churn means somebody is leaving your business or stop buying your products or stop using your service. For example, every once in 3 months in your apartment, you do the tank cleaning, water tank cleaning. Big tank, big overhead tank is there in your terrace, and somebody will, every once in 3 months they come and clean it. Since their service is not up to the mark, what you do is you discontinue their service even though you give multiple feedback to them. Their service is not up to the mark. You are stop using this service. Instead you go and subscribe with other vendor or someone. Okay, the same way, right? This churn is something like customer is leaving your business. So we started discussing about telecom company, right? Let's say you are running a telecom company. You offer different services and products. And of late, you can see that customers stop using your services. That means they left your business. That is what called as a churn. That is what called as a churn. Now the question is, okay. Now the big question is, as a business owner, we need to answer this question. Can we predict which customers are more likely to leave our business well ahead? If I know well ahead before even my customer leave my business, what can we do? What can we do? Yes, very good. Two good answers came up. So yeah, Ravi and Priya, they gave answers. If you know well ahead, so and so customers are going to leave my business anytime. So what do we do? It is really good. Before even they stop buying our products or before even they cancel the services with us in the case of telecom, if we know well ahead about their mindset, what we do is we can contact those customers and then we will find out what is their concern. And by offering personalized discounts, what we can do is we can retain them. The customers might be having some concerns. They say the network connection is not good, internet connection is not good, and the mobile network connection is not good, right? So, and there are some cases, right? Maybe the prices are not up to the mark compared to your competitors, Geo and others, right? So what you do is you give some personalized discounts so that the customers you can retain your customers. After the customer, they leave your business, and if you run after them, it is waste of time. Better if you get to know proactively which all customers are more likely to leave your business. What we do is we can offer some personalized discounts, and probably we can improve our customer support. So we had an internet connection. The net connection was not up to the mark. Often, the download speed is very less. Speed is very less, and the internet connection is breaking, and we call the customer service. There is no proper action. They took 1 week time, 3 days time. So in that case, what to do, right? You can call the customers, understand their concern, and then you tell them. Henceforth, we make sure that there are no downtime. Okay, so we will make sure that there should not be any downtime. So if you give them some kind of assurance, the customer will be happy before even they leave your business. This is the way that you can retain the customers by convincing them, by providing the good customer service and some discounts, and provide better the service packages, and also, right, sending special retention offers for those customers are about to leave. You can tell them you can get 5% discount if you renew your subscription. Okay, and ultimately right? So the ultimately you want to reduce the business losses by keeping your customers happy, right? It sounds like a win-win, right? It sounds like a win-win. So what is the objective here in this case, in this project? The objective is, we want to predict which customers are likely to churn or attrite, churn. These two terms are same, which means which customers are more likely to leave my business before they actually do. If you know, so there is no magic bullet to find out, which customers. In the case of Airtel, they have 25 million customers. Do you think they can randomly make a guess? Hey, so and so customer is going to leave my business. It's very difficult. The volume of the customers or the customer base is too high and difficult to find out which customers are more likely to leave your business. Okay, so in that case, what you do, right? You build a machine learning model. Let that model can predict which customers are more likely to leave your business. Those potential customers, what you do is you can contact them or send some special retention offers. Okay, so in that case, you can retain those customers. Those customers will not leave you, even though they have the mindset of leaving your company. They will they will change their mindset. All right. Okay, next one is we will see what steps, what are the steps involved, to make a prediction, right? Churn prediction. So to start with, we as usual we collect the data. Without data, you cannot do anything, and then you understand the data. So most of the people, right? Even I could see as soon as they get the data, they start build the model, train the model. First, understand the data. Okay, what columns are there? What each column is all about? Understand the business description for those columns. Okay, and then you proceed with data, pre-process the data in case of any data related issues, and you need to clean the data if in case of any data related issues, any duplicate records, any outliers, any missing values are there. You need to do the prepare your data. Once you prepare the data, which means once you have the cleaned data, what you do is you train your model. Usually what we do, right? We do the exploratory data analysis before and after data pre-processing also. Okay. Because, once you have the data once, and then if you start do the exploratory data analysis, you will get to know what problems you have in your data, whether you have outlier in your data or something like that. And then what you do is you address the outliers, or in case of any missing values or duplicate values, you address it. And again, you do the exploratory data. So after I fix those issues, how my data looks like. Okay, everything seems to be good. Next one is the model training and model selection. Once you train your model with this clean data, next step is you are going to evaluate the model performance with the metrics. Whether my model's prediction accuracy is good or not. Okay, in the case of classification problem, the metrics what we use is the recall, precision, and accuracy. Okay, and also we use something else called confusion matrix and area under the curve. With this set of metrics and tools, we will decide whether the trained model is predicting with the expected accuracy level. Okay, that is what we do with the help of model evaluation. Next step is we deploy the model as an API and monitor the model performance. Got it? These are the steps that we take, okay, to before we proceed with the next steps. First step, this is the sequence. These are the sequence that we follow to proceed with deploying the model. Okay, ultimately we need to deploy the model so that people across the location in your company, right, whether they live in Madurai or Delhi or Mumbai, irrespective of the location they live, all they need to do is they wanted to see their respective region, which customers are risky customers, which customers are more likely to leave my business, right? Okay. This is deploying. So deployment we discussed as part of ML ops yesterday. Okay. So now we will take a look at the data. Okay, the data what I have is, this is the data set I have it. And here I have so many columns are there. Okay, in the real world, you may get this many number of columns, or you may get more number of columns than this also. Sometimes the data volume may be more, but the number of features are less. What if you get a more number of features, right? So here in this given data set, we have the customer demographics. The given data set, you have the customer demographics. What do you mean by demographics? Demographic data. If somebody says demographic, whether you learn Power BI or any other tool, data analytics tool, you should be knowing these terms. So demographics, if the customer say, okay, what about the demographics? Can you give me the revenue across the demographics in the sense gender-wise, senior citizen-wise, partner-wise, dependents-wise? I want to give you the revenue that we generated. Okay, so you should be knowing this term, what is demographic data? So it could be gender, age, number of kids. Age also falls under demographics. Okay. So these are the columns falls under demographics. It is a basic information about the customer. Demographics is nothing but the basic information about the customer. The service details, whether they obtained the phone service or multiple lines, internet service, online security, online backup, device protection, which type of service they have taken it up with us. Okay, and contract details, whether it is going to be monthly renewable or postpaid or prepaid, paperless billing or payment method, what type of payment method they want to use it, right? These are called your contract details. And billing details monthly. See here, instead of going through each and every column, what we did, we just grouped the columns and falls under which category. That is what we are discussing. And billing details are monthly charges, total charges, customer spending pattern. With these two columns, you can obtain the customer's spend pattern and the target variable churn. This is what the column that you need to predict it. Okay. Whether the customer is left your business, that means either yes or no. Okay, you train your model with the historical data, and then if in case of any new customer comes, you apply the trained model, on their features, like let's say new customer is a male and is not a senior citizen, and he has a married, wife is there, and dependents are there, and these are the service that using it. Given these information, whether the customer is going to leave your business or not, all you do is just accept churn. Rest of the features that you are going to show it to your model, since your model got trained with the historical data like this, right? So your model can make a prediction with the patterns that it learned from the historical data, and then it will say, yes, this customer is going to churn or not, yes or no. Your model will predict the class label as either yes or no. That's all in the case of classification problem. Okay, next one is we will just take a look at each and every column. Customer ID is a unique number or identifier for each customer. Okay, so the same ID will not be applicable for other customer. Each customer have unique ID. Gender, you don't have to have the explanation. Senior citizen, in this column, we can see 0 or 1. So 0 is always false, and we use 1 for true. 0 means these customers are not senior citizens. Yes, this guy is a senior citizen. 1 means true. Wherever you see 1, that means it's true. Wherever you see 0 means false. So in this case, if you see 0, that means these customers are not senior citizens. When you see 1, that those customers. Why we use 0 and 1? Because either the linear regression model or logistic regression model, all the features, which means the input variables or in the independent variables supposed to be in numerical value, right? Next one is the partner, whether the customer has a partner, yes or no. Okay. Dependence, whether the customer has dependence, yes or no is there. And tenure, in the number of months the customer has been with your company. And then phone service, whether they obtain for this phone service or not, right? Yes or no is there. Multiple lines. Okay, whether the customer has multiple lines. In the same house, right? Husband is working, wife is also working. Both of them are using two different internet connection. Okay, in this case, right, so multiple lines will be there. Okay, and then the internet service, the type of internet service, whether it's a fiber optic or not. Fiber optic, you know very well, it's pretty faster, and DSL connection or fiber optic or no. So that is what the data you can see. And then the online security, whether the customer has online security service. So this is kind of, in US, I think, but I don't know if you can obtain it in India. Next one is the online backup. Okay, whether the customer is subject to online backup service and device protection, and you have something else called technical support. Okay, whether the customer has technical support, streaming TV, whether the customer has a streaming TV service, whether the customer has a like our TV serial, right? So we TV, sorry, not serial, TV channels. We use the streaming TV connection, streaming movies, and contract, the type of contract. Okay, whether it is a month to month or yearly or 2 years, so, and then paperless billing. Okay, whether the customer has opted for paperless billing and payment method. Okay, so do they use electronic check or bank transfer, credit card, something like that. Next one is the monthly charges, the amount the customer is charged every month, and then total charges, total amount the customer has paid so far. That is what this column contains. And next one is the churn. This is the column is your output variable. It is also called as a labeled feature. Whether the customer has left the service, wherever you see no, that means those customers, they did not leave our business. Yes means yes, this customer left the business in the past. Okay, so now you understood, this data set contains the contains more number of columns or the features. Instead of saying columns, features, we have more number of features, and we have only one labeled column, that is called your churn. Okay. Now the question is, do I really need all these features? We don't need. How do we decide which features can I use it? Simple example, customer ID. Customer is a unique number. Customer ID is nowhere helpful in terms of predicting whether the customer is going to leave my business or not, isn't it? Gender can be a a factor. A male senior citizen or a male non-senior citizen and a bachelor, right? So and then he has been with us for the last 2 years or something and used, right? So with this combination, we can find out whether the customer is going to leave my business or not. But customer ID is nowhere helpful. But remember one thing very clearly: whenever you see some unique values in a column, primary key column or something like that, you don't include in your model. Okay, you don't have to include it. You can remove this feature and you can use the remaining features. But of those remaining features, yes, we need to follow some, we need to do some kind of feature selection. There are different tools are available to do the feature selection. Features and which features are really helpful in terms of predicting the churn. Got it? Now that you have some good understanding about the data, okay, at least at a high level, okay. So now that you have some understanding, good understanding about data, now what we will do is we will jump into the Jupyter notebook, and then we will carry out all these steps that I mentioned it here, one after the other. Okay, each and every step we will carry out one after the other. I just go to the Jupyter notebook here. And then here we could see that, 1 second, in the interest of time, already I put all the script here. Okay, no issues. 1 second, give me a second. First thing is right, we need to load the data set and understand the structure. So here what I did, I just imported all the packages that are required in order to train our logistic regression model. You know what is pandas and numpy? Pandas and numpy, if you want to perform any data exploration, pandas is really helpful. And importantly, if you want to join more than one table, it is really, really helpful. It is super cool package that is available in Python as a open source, using which you can perform SQL like join. You can perform inner join, outer join, anti-join, left anti-join, right anti-join. full outer join, everything you can do it with pandas. Okay, NumPy is NumPy is very much helpful. If you want to create a matrix or arrays, right, that is really helpful. And pandas is an extension of your NumPy. You just think, pandas, is built on, the NumPy, because NumPy has some kind of limitations. To overcome that, pandas is really helpful. What kind of limitations? If you want to join more than one data set using like your SQL query, pandas is really, really helpful. Okay. And next one is SHAP, and SHAP is a package using which you can help your management to interpret the model output like how a layman can understand. You are a data scientist, you can understand once you train your model, and when you see the summary of your model, you can understand what is the log odds, and all the things we can understand, but they may not be able to understand that kind of situation. SHAP is a package really helpful to understand or help your customers or stakeholders to understand from the layman point of view. This is very important, guys. Nobody teaches all these things comprehensively in a single video itself or single session itself. Okay. Next one is JobLib. Using JobLib, what we do is we can, one second. Using JobLib, we can save the model. Okay. So you can dump the model. Dump in the sense you can save your trained model like a .pickle file. Okay. So you can do pickling with JobLib. Okay, so using JobLib, once you train your model, you can save it as a .pkl file. Okay. Next one is Seaborn and Matplot. These two are visualization related packages, and sklearn is your machine learning packages. All the required packages I have imported it. If you ask me this question, how do I know which all packages that are required? If you want to perform any data analysis, fundamental data analysis, usually we use all these packages except SHAP and JobLib. So right, so rest of them will be using it. And SHAP is really helpful to interpret your model output, and JobLib is helpful to save your trained model, because every time you cannot train your model. For example, every 1 hour, if you wanted to retrain your model, right? So in that case, it is okay, but hardly once in a year or twice a year, a specific model has to be trained. So in that kind of situation, you can use a package called Joblet, and you do pickling. Pickling in the sense you save your model, okay, and then once you save the model, later point in time, you don't have to retrain the same model again and again. You can reload the model and then make a prediction. For that purpose, we use Joblet. So then next, what I did, I just ingested the data set. In this case, we have the CSV file, comma separate value file that contains the telecom customers' entire detail in it. And I have used the pandas package, as an alias pd.read_csv, and we are ingesting this data set, and then we store this data into a variable called data. Now, data is your data frame. Okay, this data frame, if you see it, if you view it, it will be like your Excel data. Okay, it will have rows and columns in it. Okay, this CSV file will get stored as a Excel kind row and column format in this data. Data is nothing but now data frame. Okay, using pandas, when you read any CSV file or Excel file and you store it in a variable, it will become a data frame. Data frame will contains rows and columns, like how your RDBMS table contains the data, right? The same way it will store the data. Next, what I did, I just dropped the customer ID. As I told you, customer ID is a unique key column. It is not at all helpful in terms of predicting my customer churn. The simple example is, take for example, in the case of linear regression, right? So you have something like customer ID, phone number. Okay, so in that case, does customer ID or phone number or email ID is helpful in terms of predicting your housing price? No, right? To predict the housing price, what are the features that are required? Size of the house, age of the house, location of the house, not the phone number or email ID. Right? Similarly, customer ID is nowhere helpful in terms of predicting the churn of the customer. Next step is what we are doing is we just display the basic information and statistics. Okay, I just loaded the data given by my customer, and I just dropped this column. This column is nowhere helpful. Okay, data dot drop. Okay, data dot drop, and then the first argument is your column name, comma axis equal to 1. What is axis equal to 1? We discussed as part of pandas. Axis equal to 1 or 0. What is 0 or 1? So 1 is your column. Okay, if you specify 0 means that specific row. If you want to drop a row, you need to specify 0. If you want to drop a specific column, you need to specify 1 here. Axis equal to 1. This is mandatory. And in place equal to true. When you give in place equal to true, it will permanently delete the customer ID from your data frame, not from this data set. Okay. So in this data frame, it is going to remove the customer ID. Okay, fine. After removing the customer ID, we want to explore the basic information about the given data set. What I will do is I execute each and every cell here. Look here, you can see the star here. As soon as I clicked on the button here, play button, we don't see any error. And then I go to the next cell. I'm going to execute this one. Then we can see that the data.info gives me the information about my data frame. So each and every column name got listed and non-null count, right? So almost all the columns are non-null. And remember one thing very clearly, in the case of pandas data frame, if you see the data type as object, that means string data. For integer and float, it will specify the correct data type name. If you find object, that means it's a string data type. That's all. Okay. And what command that you use it to check for null value is null function. The interview, they'll ask you all these questions. Yes, Priya, you are correct. Priya and I could see that Priya and Ravi, they are answering it in a pretty fast manner before even I ask this question. Is null function is helpful to find out the null values in your data set. In the interview, they'll ask you, how do you find out the null values by each column? How many number of null values in each column? Which command that you will use it? This is the thing. Okay, so data dot is null dot sum function, that is the one we can use it. See, first one is the data dot info got displayed here, and then the next one is the data dot describe. If you scroll down here, it gives you the count, mean, standard deviation, all the thing. Okay, and for the numeric column, okay, for the numeric column, it gives you the minimum, maximum, because for the numeric column only you can find out the minimum, maximum, standard deviation, everything, right? Along with that, it gives you the count and all the things. Okay, and then here you see 0, 0. This is the one is related to your is null dot sum function. Okay, is null dot sum function. Here it shows none of the column have missing values. Very good. Okay, all the columns have data in it. We don't see any null values in any one of the given columns. Very good. So next one is we are going to check the distribution of the churn. Okay, we are going to distribute this. For that, I am using the SNS package. The SNS packages are really helpful to plot your charts. Okay, Cbond, and in Cbond package we have something called count plot method or function. So here I'm going to say in the x-axis plot the churn and then use this given data. Already this data contains the data frame, right? And then give me the title for this chart as churn distribution and then show me the plot. If you scroll down here, you can see that yes and no. Okay. So what you can infer from this, the y-axis you can see count, how many number of customers. Okay. Here churn, yes means yes, almost 1,800 or 900 customers, they left my business. No means almost 5,200 or 300 customers, they did not leave my business. With this distribution, you can quickly make out how many number of customers have left, how many number of customers are still with us. That is what you can make out from this, isn't it? Okay, and what are the other things we can see it here? And the next one is this is called your data exploration. Okay, using the charts like charts related packages, the Seaborn or Matplotlib, we are going to explore the data. That is called your exploratory data analysis. So we could see that very less number of customers when they left our business. And the next one is we are going to use the box plot to detect the outliers. What is box plot? Why do we use box plot? Box plot, we use it to display the 5-number summary, minimum, maximum, quartile 1, quartile 3, and interquartile range. For that, we can use in the box plot. And we can use the box plot for the numerical column. So tenure and how many number of months they've been with our business, and monthly charges, how much they are paying it, and what is the total charges they paid so far. All these information you can find it here in these columns. Not having this. Okay. That is what we can see it here, right? Yeah. And what are the other information? Yeah, the box plot. It's being executed. Let's wait for few minutes. Okay. It's still, generating the plots. Let's wait for a few moments. Here I've used the tenure and monthly charges and total charges. So this script will generate three box plots, and each box plot represents the distribution of these numeric features. Let's wait for a few more minutes because we could see star next to this. As soon as I selected the cell, and when I clicked on this run button, you can see star. That means you need to wait. It is still, processing this one. It needs some time. And it takes time. Okay, let's go back here. Exploratory analysis is very much important. You need to explore your data to gain the insights, whether it is a Power BI, Tableau, or any data analytics tool. If you learn it, it is not helpful unless you gain insights about your plotted visuals, right? From the plotted visuals. And I'm going to select this. I'm going to execute this one also. Let it get executed on. But even though I select these three cells, and if I execute it one after the other, still we could see star. That means it takes time. And if you see that it takes a longer time, then what you do is you can click on some, this square kind of icon. It will interrupt the kernel. But if you interrupt the kernel, you need to start, and you need to restart it. That means you are restarting your Python kernel. It will take some time. Okay. And again, you need to execute each and every cell from the beginning. It's something like, right, you are restarting your computer. It's almost like that. But in this case, when you click on this one, only the kernel will get interrupted and it will get restarted. It is not, for that, you don't have to restart your laptop. Okay. I just gave you the example. Okay. What is interrupt kernel? It takes longer time. What I do is I just stop the kernel. Okay. Interrupt the kernel and keyboard interrupt, right? So I just execute it again. And again, it takes time. Okay, let me do one thing. Yeah, instead of that, we can use the option called restart the kernel. Restart. Sometimes if you see, your cell takes a longer time to execute it. Better click on the restart the kernel instead of using the interrupt. Okay, this is much more powerful than this one. Okay, so it will restart everything. And when you click on this one again, right, it shows again star here. That means still it is being executed. You need to wait for some time. It should work. On second, I'll just go and check my kernel. This is the one, I did not stop it. Get events for close to stream. I don't see any error also here. Okay, let's wait for some time. I think, yeah, this one takes time. In the meanwhile, what I will do is already executed in another notebook. I just show you to save time. I just go down here and I will show you the three. So this, right? So once this cell gets executed, that means, if you don't see the star, it will plot the bar charts like this. These are called box plot. And as I told you, tenure, monthly charges, total charges, these three are numeric columns. You can use the box plot, because box plot, with the box plot, you can plot five numbers: minimum, maximum, and then the interquartile range, and then Q1 and Q3 values, median values also. Can you find out the minimum and maximum for numeric column? Sorry, the categorical column, no, right? So for that reason, we can use the box plot to plot only the numeric column. So here, this is the minimum value, this is the maximum value, okay, minimum, maximum. Anything above the maximum, if you see something like circle, that means, you have some outlier in your data. What is an outlier? How many of you remember outlier? What is an outlier as part of descriptive statistics we discussed? Outlier is something like unusually very high value. Okay, and other in other extreme, right? Sometimes the outliers may be, right, less than your minimum value also, right? So if you find anything above the maximum value and below the minimum value, that is called your outlier. That means it requires some kind of intervention. You need to address that outlier. So in this box plot, what we can infer from this and what kind of insights we can gain it. So with the help of the box plot, we can understand the spread of the data in each numeric column, and then the central tendency. Central tendency is the average, the median, minimum, maximum, and then potential outliers in your data set. So these are the things you can find out using the box plot. Interview they'll ask you. And what is a box plot tenure? So here the tenure represents what exactly tenure? Tenure tells us how long a customer has been with our company. So this one, in the middle, the box plot, you can see the line. This is what your median, the middle line, it shows the typical customer tenure. Okay. The median typical customer tenure, something like on the average. Okay. How on an average, how long they've been with us. Okay. And interquartile range. So the interquartile range is this one, the quartile 1 and quartile 3, right? So this is your interquartile range. Also, you can see it represents the middle 50% of your customer. The interquartile range, that is nothing but the box, tells us the middle 50% of customers. The whiskers, what is whiskers? The tail of this, and these are called your whiskers. These whiskers extend to the minimum and maximum value, excluding outliers. Okay. The whiskers excludes the outliers, which means anything above this maximum value, if you see dot here, that means that is an outlier. Supposing when you see some value here, just above this line, if you see dot here, that means these are called outlier. And if you see anything below this minimum value, that is an outlier. Okay. Above this, if you see something like an outlier. In our case, we don't see any outlier. Good. And so what is the advantage of box plot? Box plot helps us to, or it gives us the insights into the spread. Okay, spread. Okay, how spread out the given data is. If you see the spread, it is less, but if you see the spread is more, and if you see the spread is very small, right? The spread is, yeah, sorry, the spread is too wide here, right? So overall, if you see it is too wide. So just above this, you can see that, the whisker is too longer and smaller, right? How with this we can understand the spread and central tendency, the minimum, maximum, average, all the things, and median, potential outliers. Fortunately, we don't see any outliers. Okay. What is that? The interquartile range tells us it represents the middle 50% of customers. Okay. And here, if you see here, the monthly charges, the middle one, what it shows here is what it shows here is the amount customers pay per month. The median is near, somewhere 40 and 90, right? Almost 40 and almost 38 and 90. So meaning most customers pay in this range. In this range, they pay it. And the IQRS interquartile range is little wider, right? This is wide, indicating larger variation in the charges. Okay, some people pay 38, and some people they pay 90, and some people pay 45. There is a large variation is there with respect to the charges, and the whiskers that extend without outliers, right? That means most customer charges are within the expected range. Most customers charges are within the expected range, right? So it is less than 120 and 20 and above. Okay, that is what we can see that range. This is how you need to tell the story by seeing this one, right? So in this case, what is our observation? The customers pay between somewhere like yeah, $20 to $120 per month. $20 to $120 the customer pay per month with a median value beyond 70, beyond 70. This is the story you need to tell. So once the box plot is, see, this box plot is plotted with the help of this commands, fine, but you need to present it to your management in the PowerPoint. So in that case, you need to tell the story something like this. So if they do not know what the hell box plot is, because box plot is technical chart, it can be understood only by the data scientist, not even by the data analyst. Okay, even if you ask the uh, Power BI guy or any Excel guy, they do not know. They know how to plot the box plot. They say using box plot you can plot 5 number summary: minimum, maximum, quartile 1, quartile 3, interquartile range. But the story has to be told by you only, because your audiences are laymen. So what story you can tell? You can tell the story here. The customers pay between $20 to $120 per month with a median amount $70. Some customers have very low monthly charges. Some customers have very low monthly charges. Okay, likely on a basic plan. Others have higher charges. Others have higher charges, maybe due to additional service that they are using it, right? So maybe they are using some additional services. So because of which these are the observations we can make with this box plot. And next one is here, right? So this is little bit different. The shape is little bit different. So here it shows its total charges. Okay, it represents the cumulative amount a customer has paid. Cumulative amount a customer has paid. So here the median tells us, this is what the median, right? The middle line. The median tells us, many customers have paid amount, anywhere between, we can say 500 to, so paid 500 to something like, 3,000, right? So in total. Many customers have paid around this range. That is what it tells us. And IQR is, little large, showing significant variation. The whiskers extend up to nearly 9,000. This whisker extend up to 9,000, meaning some customers have been paying for a long time. Some customers have been paying for a long time. Very good insight, right? We are able to get it. So that's what they say. These charts, right? The picture tells us a story here. It gives us the story. As a data scientist, you should be smart enough in terms of not only in terms of plotting the chart, that even a normal guy can do that, but you need to tell the story something like this after plotting the chart, right? So the customer with longer tenure, and higher monthly charges naturally have higher total charges. This is a simple common sense thing, right? Observation. Customers with the longer tenure, right? So longer tenure and higher monthly charges have higher total charges. That is another observation, right? Some customers have very low total charges. See, some customers have very low total charges, possibly indicating they are new customers. Okay, there may be some outliers, but the data appears fairly distributed. Okay, fairly distributed. We don't see any outlier value. That means any circle just above or below the minimum. So this line is your minimum. Sorry, this line is your minimum. This line is your maximum, right? This indicates the maximum. This line is maximum. This is your minimum. We don't see anything above or below this. The circle. If you find circle, that means there is an outlier. You need to address that outlier. Either you can remove those outlier value or you can address it. That you need to work closely with your customers, domain experts, and then you need to decide. Okay, you understood. So these are the things that we can see it here. And what are the other things? So let me go back to the other notebook. That is where we have executed that. Let's see if that's still going on. Yeah, the box plot has been plotted now. Okay. Not this one. Sorry, that's a count distribution. Where is the box plot? Still it is going on, right? So the box plot, churn distribution. Okay. Correlation meat map is also going. Box plot is still plotting. It takes time. Anyhow, let us not worry about the same thing. I will show it in other notebook, which I executed, before this session. Okay, and next one we can see the correlation map. Okay, what is this correlation map? We discussed about the correlation map in the last session, right? It displays relationship between numerical features using correlation heat map. We can find out the relationship between numerical features. If a feature has higher correlation with churn, right, it strongly influences customer retention. If a feature has a high correlation with churn, that means, look here, you have a feature called partner and dependencies. Tenure is the numerical variable. And if you see the values, right, a feature has a higher correlation. Okay, here you can see the tenure is 0.35. So rest of them are very less, right? 0. Negative 0.10, 0.10. But here you can see 0.35. It is slightly correlating with your churn. So what is correlation? Anybody has any idea? Except, fine guys, what is a correlation map? With correlation map, we can find out the relationship between two numerical features. Okay, so if any feature that gives you the higher correlation value, right, with your churn, that that says, right, those features are helpful to predict your churn. Okay, and features like tenure, where and then other things like monthly charges, right? Monthly charges and tenure. 0.19 is there, here 0.35 is there, and 0.29 is there. Right? Yes, those features, these are called features. This is your label output variable. Right? These features, how well it is correlating with this one. Higher the value here, that means these variables are correlating with your target variable. This is what target with, this is a feature, right? So 0.35, but negative is not good, right? So 0.04 is also not correlating well with your churn. Okay, with that we can make out feature selection. Also, we can do it with the help of the correlation plot. And whichever features have higher correlation with your target variable or the labeled outcome variable, so those features are helpful in terms of predicting your churn, customer churn. Okay, and next one is the confusion matrix, that we will see it later once we train our model. Using confusion matrix also, we are going to evaluate how well my model is performing, how accurately the model. See, my model predicted so and so customer is risky customers, which means they are going to leave my business. That's how my, listen, a customer Satya Kumar, he is going to leave my business. My model predicted. How well my model predicted? See, if the doctor says, right, this person has cancer, now what is the accuracy of his analysis? Just because a doctor says, right, this person has cancer, that doesn't mean a person has a cancer, right? What diagnostic, what diagnosis he did? Did he see the MRI scan? No. Did he see the blood report? No. But with the symptoms, based on your symptoms, he says, you have cancer. That is not accurate, isn't it? Similarly, once you train your model, you need to check how accurately my model predict the class label. Whether the customer, let's say my model predicted the customer is going to churn, is that customer really going to churn? How well my model predicted? What is the prediction accuracy? For that, we use the probability also along with the predicted class label. Okay, with that we can decide. But still, like a human can make some mistake, models also can misclassify. Instead of classifying a good customer as a good customer, it might tend to classify a good customer as a bad customer. That's where as a data scientist, we need to fine tune our model. And right, so we need to make sure that the metrics values like precision, recall, and accuracy values are high. Okay, if those values are less, that means our model needs tuning. Okay, now that we have explored these using this chart, we've explored our data. We got some fair amount of idea. Next, what we are doing is how do we handle the missing values? This is very important. The interview they'll ask you, how did you handle the missing values? What are the challenges that you posed in your project? So we could see some couple of missing values in our total charges column. What we did, we just two numeric total charges, right? So what we did, error, coerce, and then fill and E. Right, so we have converted this total charges as a two numeric variable, and then what we did, we have used the median. We computed the average value from the total charges column, and then we replaced the blank values by the average of the total charges. So this is the academic thing, okay? But in the real world, we use some regression algorithm to predict what values can can be part of that the blank values. Use some advanced techniques at this moment. Understand the fundamental way of how to do the data imputation. Data imputation, nothing but replacing the missing values with average value of that column. The total charges in column, we are taking the average of this column. Okay, let's say the average of this column is, let's 25 or something like that. So wherever you find missing values in this column, replace that missing value with 25. That is what fill any function does. This is a built-in function that is available as part of your pandas itself. Using fill any, what you need to do is, you can specify your column name and then followed with the median function is there. Median function is helpful to find out the average of average of this column. And fill any, what it does is wherever the missing value is there, it replaces the missing values with your median value or the average value. So median is the middle value. To simplify your understanding, I'm using the term average. Okay. You can also, there is a average function is also available. You can use it with NumPy package. But anyhow, median is also fine. Okay. As I told you, median is not sensitive to outliers. Okay. So better you can use median. Next one is the encoding. So what is encoding? What is encoding? We discussed the length and breadth of encoding. What is the encoding? One hot encoder we discussed, and label encoder we discussed. So what is encoder? We discussed in the past session. You watched that video, okay? Here, what this encoder does is, it converts your yes as 1. Wherever you have yes in this column, it replaces that with 1. Wherever no is there in this column, it replaces it with 0. Okay? If I go here, still it is going on. There is some problem. Okay, here. Okay. Anyhow, let us not worry about that. Okay, so now you understood. We do some kind of data imputation. Data imputation, nothing but handling the missing values, replacing the missing value or the blank value by the average of that column. That we did it. In addition to that, we did the encoding. Okay, categorical variables, right? So the categorical variable is churn in this case. Okay, what we are doing is wherever yes is there, we replace by 1, and wherever no is there, we replace that by 0. Now the question is, sir, this is a label output feature. This is not an input feature. So why should I have 1 and 0? Even in the label output feature also, it will be good if you can have the binary values, 0 or 1. Okay, fine. Next one is handling the outliers. See, these steps up to box plot and the correlation, heat map, it's all falls under exploratory data analysis. And these missing values, encoding the categorical values and outliers, these three tasks falls under data preparation. As part of data preparation, I just go back to my PowerPoint. So, okay, so these are the steps that you carried out in order to solve this business problem. What was the business problem? The business problem was of late we could see that most of the customers, of late we could see that the customers are stop using our service. Okay, that is a business problem. Instead of losing the customer and then running after them, hey, come back to me, don't buy from my competitor. Best thing is the smart way of doing is just make a prediction using the model, machine learning model, to find out which customers are more likely to leave my business. Before even they leave my business, if I get to know that, I can come up with some offers and then I can tell them. So it's something like, right, before a person dies, if you take some proactive measures to save him, he will be alive. After the person's death, if you go and give all treatment, what is the use, right? It's something like this. Before even the customer leaves, if you get to know which customers are more likely to leave my business, and right, you can make some course correction. First of all, you don't know which customers are more likely to leave my business. Then what will happen? Every month, customers will keep on leave your business. One day, you will have to shut down your business. What happened? DMart now. DMart and Reliance in India, now they started closing their retail chains. Did you see the news? Okay, so what happens is so due to various other factors, okay, that could be, but end of the day, right, due to churn, right? So because the new retail chain gained a lot of popularity because of the brand name and because of the offers and features, whatever they offer, right? Especially Zepto, they introduced something like 10 minutes delivery. Because of this, many customers they started ordering with Zepto. Okay, so if I don't have chili or coriander leaves, I cannot afford going to the shop, right? So better I'll order it within 10 minutes they're delivering it. This is one of the strategies they used it. They became successful. Now everyone started replicating. Now Amazon and others, right? So right. So once you understand the customers' purchase behavior or what is their expectations, and what you can do is you can take a quick action, swift action in terms of addressing their concerns or trying to meet their expectations. Like Zepto, how they did, right? That is what we can do. So that is what the whole idea of this project. And here, what we are doing is, yes, to before making the prediction, we want to make sure that what insights we can get it, right? What is the range that the customers are spending? How many number of customers are paying a lesser amount every month? Probably those customers pay lesser monthly charges. We can maybe they are good new customers. What we can do is we can contact those customers and we can ask them to go for some value added service. Okay, maybe the customer is using Airtel's prepaid or postpaid service for making the calls. The value-added service, you can contact those customers and why don't you woo them or persuade them to go for the broadband connection. Okay, so something like that. By exploring the data, you'll get different insights. That insights can help you to make some, or make some quick decision. How to the classic example is the one which I told you a while back, right? So the value-added services you can give them. So that way you can boost your service. You can do cross-selling. Okay. And you can contact the potential customers instead of contacting the customers, even though you spend a lot of money and making the call 100 times, they are not listening to, right? Better you drop them. Don't call them. It's waste of time. So find out those customers are really potential. So in that kind of situation, so while you explore the data, you will get business insights, not only the business technical insights. Whether I have the outliers are there in my data, unless you explore, how do you know that, right? So when you explore the data, you'll get business insights, and also you'll get to know the flaws or the problem with your data. That is a technical thing, right? Technical insight. So address it. So once you conduct the exploration, what you do? Let's say, while exploring data, you found some missing values. You need to address it. That is what we do it as part of a data preparation. So these are the common three steps, right, that we carry out in most of the. Hence, it is very simple to remember things. Handling missing values, encoding the categorical variables, and we handle the outliers. Okay, and here and the handling the outliers, we have used interquartile range. So you have some outliers. Outliers is something abnormal value. A specific data point that is falling too far from the rest of the data. That is an outlier, isn't it? So what you do is you take a point, quantile 0.25 and 0.75. So 0.25 is your quarter one, right? So and zero point 0.7 is your Q3. Q3 minus Q1 is your outlier. What you are doing is outlier mask. You are masking the outlier. What you are doing is this is the formula that Q1 minus 1.5 into IQR, Q3 plus 1.5 into IQR, right? If the data value is less than this one, right, we can we can make sure that it's a outlier. So guys, remember, in the box plot, if you see any dot above the maximum and below the minimum value, that is your outlier. With the help of the box plot, you can just by eyeballing this, you can spot the outlier in your data set in those specific columns. Supposing you don't have the box plot, is there any way manually you can compute it? This is how you can compute it. The Q1 minus 1.5 into IQ, Q3 plus 1.5 into IQR. If the data value is less than this one or greater than that means you have an outlier mask. And what to do is in np.nan, we are putting fill NA, you take the median value and then replace it. See, it's not only uh, in the case of blank values, we replace the blank values with the average value. To address the outlier also, we are following the somewhat similar strategy, but here it is not like a missing values. You replace the missing values with the average value. But what happens, you could see some outlier now. Now you address this issue, the missing values. And next what happened, you have another headache. I could see some kind of outliers. So again here, right, find out the outliers in your data set. If anything less than this value in your data set, anything if your data value is more than this one, that means you have an outlier. Okay, so what you do is, right, you create a new column called outlier mask, and then what you do is, right, so if you find anything above and below this, you put it in this, and then you put np.nan, and then what you do is you replace that this column, right, ln a blank value with the average of that specific column. That is a strategy, but different project, different customers, they use different strategy. This is one of the commonly used strategy. Okay. And next one is a pretty common thing, right? So we are splitting our given data set into training and test data set. So here test size I mentioned 0.2. That means my training data set should contain 80% of the data, remaining 20% of data I'm using for testing purpose. Next one is still I'm doing the data pre-processing, right? What I do is after I splitted my given data into training and test data set with 80-20 ratio, next step is what I'm doing is I'm converting all the numerical features. I'm doing some kind of scaling. All right. So using standard scaler. Okay. We have a class called standard scaler. We are initializing it here. And then the scalar, the initialized model is nothing but the class is standard scaler. Instead of putting standard scaler, I'm using scalar dot fit transform. What it does is it will convert your numerical values as a z-score. What is z-score values? The interview they'll ask you what package that you used it to do the scaling, feature scaling. Okay, and here you can go and see it here. Standard scalar is available under scalar.preprocessing. The label encoder and standard scalar. These two classes are available under a package called scalar.preprocessing. Okay, that's all, guys, right? And then what you do is you come down here and then initialize the class by which you imported it. Import panna mattum pathadile, you need to use it, right? So standard scalar, we are initializing it here, and then scalar.fit transform. So this command, what it does is it will convert your entire training data set numeric column into the z-score values. Right? What is a z-score formula? Anybody remembers? What is z-score formula? Yeah, correct. Yeah. Only one correct answer came here. Rest of the no answer. So why do we need to do a z-score? So that is to standardize your data. So, okay, what do you mean by standardizing the data? Hmm? Except Ravi. Yes. Z is equal to x minus mu. One second, I just write it again. Guys, when you attend the session, please register it in your mind. Z equal to x minus mu divided by sigma. Mu is your population mean, sigma is your population standard deviation. Okay. Okay. So this is your individual value. X is your individual value. Okay. So you take each and every value. For example, you have a tenure. The tenure column you have 5 years, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months. And what you do is, you substitute the, thing 5 minus. This your population mean is 3. And sigma is, let's assume that 2. 5 minus 3 is 2 by 2 is 1. So this value 5 got converted as 1, right? And you take, let's 4 or 40, let's 40, right? 40 months. 40 minus, let's 30 is there. This is the population mean. And then the standard deviation, let's 2 is there. So what will happen? 40 minus 30 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So it got reduced by 10. The 40 got reduced by 5. The why we need to do the scaling? Why do we need to do the scaling first of all? What is scaling? So what we do is we convert the numerical columns using the z-score. That is what scaling. Why do we need to do the scaling? Because, for example, you have the column called tenure and monthly charges. Monthly charges. The tenure can be, this column contains the tenure is in terms, right? In terms of years. So 1 year, 2 year, maybe, 10 years, 12 years customers, right? So and 15 years, like me, right? I've been using Airtel for the last 15 years for one specific number, okay? 15 years, 12 years, 10 years, maximum two digits, right? And in the case of monthly charges, it can be anything. So 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 or some cases 3,000, 2,000. This is a big number. So what happens is in the case of machine learning model, there are some numerical column contains 2 digits. There are some numerical column contains 6 digits, 7 digit value. The model will become biased towards the column that contains more number of digits. To address this kind of bias, what we are doing is we are doing the scaling, feature scaling. How do we do the scaling using standard scalar package? We don't have to take each and every subtract and with the mean value, population mean and standard deviation, we don't divide it. Instead, there is a ready-made package called standard scalar is already available. With that, simply you need to use the fit transform that is available as part of standard scalar class. And what it does is it does the uh, it does the z-score for your data set. Okay, for each and every row, it finds out the corresponding z-score value. Hence, what will happen is if tenure is 2 digit, and even your monthly charge will also be maximum 2 digits. That's all. So in that case, your model will not bias towards these two columns values, because both the column values are, maximum 2 digits only is there. For that purpose, we need to do the, scaling. Okay, now we are done. So what are the first, what are the, in our example, what are the data pre-processing tasks we carried out? We handle the missing values, right? Missing values. We handled. The interview you need to answer like this. Okay. Forget about the interview during the status. Every day status call will be there, right? You need to tell, handle the missing values and then address the outlier values, outliers. And then third one is, what are the thing? Handle the missing value, address the outlier. And that's all right. We did the feature scaling. Feature scaling, what function that you use it? I have used standard scalar class that is available as part of a scalar. Sorry, pre-processing. Pre-processing is part of my sklearn. That's all. The package name, the last, then what is the class that you or method that you used it, and for what purpose you used it. That's all, guys. Very simple, right? Hope it's all clear to you. Okay, fine. So next step, yes, my data is processed well. Okay. I splitted the data and training and test data set. I did the scaling. Now we are good to go with fitting the logistic regression model. So here, logistic regression is a class that is available as part of my sklearn. I just initialize my class, and then the model is my object model.fit. Here I'm using the, I'm training my model. This is where the actual training is happening. That's what I said, fit and predict. If you remember this, then you're all set. Almost you have crossed 40% your machine learning, or AI learning. Okay, fit and predict. Using fit, we train the model. Using the predict, we apply the trained model on the unseen data. That's all. So logistic regression, we initialize it. We are using the logistic regression algorithm. So logistic regression or any type of algorithm, train them with the features, input features. What are the input features? The tenure, monthly charges, total charges, and the age of the customer, and other details of customer, right? And those things. And train is your churn, right? So 0 or 1. We replaced the yes or no by 0 or 1. Some customer, they are, not churned. Some customer, they churned. And another customer, he did not churn. He's still with me. Okay. So, this column is nothing but churn, right? So this is your labeled output feature. This is your input features. Label output feature contains only one column. Input feature contains more than one column. You need to train your model with the input and then output or labeled features. That's all, guys. So your model got trained. Next one is you need to evaluate it. One. Training the model. Yes, I built the model. If somebody says, no, I built the model, that means they trained the model. Building the model is not sufficient. How well it is making the prediction? You apply this model on the unseen data called your test data set. And then what you do is there is something called accuracy score. The accuracy score, what you do is, right, this is your predicted value, right? When you apply the model on the unseen data, you will get the predicted class. And this predicted value, what you're doing is you compare the predicted, you pass the predicted value and then actual value. Actual value is churn 010. Predicted value is, this is the one gets stored, right? The y pred contains the predicted value. So listen, y pred column contains, for this customer it says, right, 0. For this customer it says, 1. For this customer it says 1. But what is the actual and predicted? The actual is 0. The predicted is also 0. That means the prediction accuracy is good. So the actual is 1. The predicted one also 1. That means the accuracy is good. The actual is 0. The predicted one is 1. So there is a misclassification happened. Actually, is not a churner. He's still with us, but my model wrongly classified him as a churner. But accuracy score, what it does is when you pass the actual and predicted values, it gives you some number. Okay, the accuracy score, usually 1. The value is 1. Any value which is closer to 1, that means that much. For example, any value closer to 1, that means the model prediction accuracy is good. For example, my model prediction accuracy is 0.89. That means it is very closer to 1. that means my model accuracy is good. Okay, so if you round it up 0.90, 0.90 is close to 1. That means my model accuracy is good. Okay, that's how we can decide. And then once you trained your model with the fit, sorry, not this one. Once you trained your model and once you predicted your model, you obtained your accuracy score. If the accuracy score is 0.89, let's assume that, okay, that is somewhat closer to 1. It is good. Next step is, right now you found your model accuracy is somewhat closer to your 1. Now you want to save that trained model using job.dump. You are saving the model as, this name, churn model.pickle. Here, what is this one model? Model is nothing but this is the one, right? That is the one. So this is the one. Model is this one. I just clear this. This is your model. Okay. Yeah, this is the one, the model. Okay. Yes. So you need to tell, take this trained model. Already you say this is the one. Sorry. Okay. This is the one. Already we trained the model. And this model, you save it as a churn model.pkl. You can give whatever name, but the extension should be pkl. Okay. The .pkl. So that once you save it, later point time, again, you don't have to retrain your model. So this is the step we did the retraining, right? So in this case, we have less number of data. In the real world scenario, you have 10 million records, 50 million records. The training time itself will take a lot of time. Okay. To make, let's say your management comes to you, hey, can you please predict for these 5 customers, 5 new customers, whether they are going to churn or not, or the existing customer, are they going to churn or not? For just because of to predict the 5 customers, whether they are going to churn or not, if you retrain your model with which contains 50 million records or 250 million records, it takes a lot of time. What you do is you have already trained your model. Simply load your model. Okay, look here using job.load. So and you reuse the saved model and then load it again. In this case, there is no training time. Okay, read the model and then you make a prediction with your new data. Okay, so joblib.dump function is helpful to save your trained model to your local system. This is the one. What we do is we'll push it to GitHub or model registry. Okay, so that later point in time, even this one will get version if you push it to your GitHub. For example, later point time, if you want to retrain the model with the new data, right, you again the model, the same model will get replaced, right? So, but what will happen is, since you are using version control, even though the churn model.pkl is already there, so it assigns some version there, and even for this, it will assign for the new thing, right? It will assign different version. Okay. With that, you can with GitHub or GitHub like version control softwares, you can restore a specific version of the code or data or model at any given point in time. The version control is taken care automatically by your GitHub also. Okay, guys, good. Everything seems to be good, right? So we are done with all these things. What we'll do is I will just save this recorder now, and then we will upload this video in our GitHub. So not GitHub, in our YouTube channel.